everyone, so today I have a little haul of sorts for you, and I know we've just been through Christmas, which is the time you're supposed to be spending money on other people and not yourself, but I seem to have accumulated a fair few bits, which is a bit worrying, but I've got some high-end stuff, some drugstore bits, a bit of a mix, so I thought I would show you those today. And the first two things I actually received for Christmas, so I was a really lucky girl and got some lovely bits, but these are my two kind of beauty related things that I wanted to show you. And the first one is the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette, and I'm sure this was in many people's Christmas stockings, and I didn't think that I wanted it. I saw it when it came out and I was a bit like, oh, it looks okay, it's pretty colours, but I'm not that fussed about it. But the more I saw it on people's blogs and the colours being swatched and worn, I needed it. I fell in love with it. So yeah, I asked for it for Christmas and I was really lucky to get it. And it's just basically a palette. I mean, you've all seen it. I'm sure you've all seen the Urban Decay Naked palettes, but this is more of a rose toned one. So it's got some pinky purpley eyeshadows in it, which is nice because I don't really own any of those kind of shades. So it's got really neutral ones. It's got a couple of matte things in there too, some darker, smokier colours. But since I got this, it's all I've worn. It's just so versatile. There's so many thousands and thousands of different things you can do with it. Now, at the end of last year, I seem to have sprung up a kind of obsession for Jo Malone. I'd never smelled any of their fragrances before, but they had just put a counter into my kind of nearby department store. So I went and sniffed them all and I just fell in love. I think their fragrances are also different to what you would find, you know, in a normal perfume counter. So when I was there, I picked up the Peony and Blush Suede fragrance, and it's fast become one of probably my all-time favourite perfumes. It's quite sweet and fruity, but it's also a bit florally, which is different for me, but I really, really love it. But there was another one that I was kind of weighing it up between, and that was the Blackberry and Bay fragrance. And again, this is just such a different smell to anything I've ever smelled before. So I was lucky enough to actually get this one for Christmas. I've been keeping it in the box because it's just so kind of pretty and precious. But yeah, this is the Blackberry and Bay. It's actually got quite a deep kind of musky, almost like planty, leafy smell to it, which I think is the Bay. But the Blackberry just sweetens it up a bit and lifts it. But it's a nice kind of warm fragrance to wear, and I find with all the Jo Malone perfumes, they just sit so well on your skin and they really transform into a nice kind of scent that is your own. So surprisingly, I only actually made one sales purchase this year, and it was from Space NK, and it was only quite recently since their sale has gone down to 75%. I think it's still up, so there's a few things left on there. But I got this little set of Laura Mercier lip glacés, and I've never tried these before. I'm not a massive lip gloss wearer at all, but Anna from Viviana Does Makeup always raves about these, so I thought they're in the sale, I may as well try them. And it's kind of nice when you have little minis because you can just try out different colours. I'm really struggling to show you these. So the shades are Bare Blush, Pout, Bare Baby, Bare Peach and Gilded Rose, and I think these two, the Gilded Rose and the Bare Peach, have to be my favourites so far. They're very typical me colours. They're a bit peachy, a bit pink. One's got a little bit more shimmer in, one's more plain. But I just love the textures of them and the formulas. They're so balmy. They're not like a lip gloss at all. They're not sticky, they're not overly shiny, and they really moisturise the lips too. So I'm looking forward to trying all those out. I'm actually wearing, I think it's this one, Bare Peach today, over the top of MAC's Patisserie, just to give it a bit more shine. And then come the full priced items from Space NK, and I think it's becoming all too regular that I have a big splurge on their site. But the first thing I picked up is actually something that I promised myself I would never ever buy, so clearly I went back on that. But it's the Oribe Dry Texturizing Spray in the full size, and I do have the mini one of this. I just about ran out of it. I've got a little bit left, and I'm going to save that to keep in my handbag. But this is just, it really is the wonder product that everybody says it is. It just gives texture, volume, bounce. It just kind of brightens up your hair in, you know, a kind of, if it's flat, if it's dull looking, just lifting way. So I honestly think of all the texturizing sprays, and there are so many of them, it really is worth the money. And yeah, I think I'll be getting a lot of use out of that. I hope it will last a long time as well, because it was ridiculously expensive. I think nearly £40 for the full size bottle, which just makes me cry a little bit inside. But yeah, I think this will last a long time because there is a lot in there and you don't need a great deal of it at all. So the second item that I picked up is another quite hyped, quite talked about one, and it's the Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting powder. And I've been trying to get my hands on this for such a long time. It seemed to be out of stock for ages and ages, but I finally got one. And if you already have this, if you have it in the old packaging, you may have noticed that it's changed slightly. And when I actually opened my parcel from Space NK, I thought they had sent me an eyeshadow. It's just so, look at it compared to my hand, it is so tiny. And I asked a few people on Twitter if they had the old packaging and how much was actually in it, and they said that it was around about 5 or 6 grams, whereas the new one has 3.1 grams. So probably about half the amount in there, and you don't get the brush as well anymore, but it's still the same price. So that is a little bit worrying, a bit upsetting. I'm not sure why they've done that, and I know it is a product that you only need the smallest amount of, you don't need a great deal, so I'm sure this will last a really long time, but if you do have the old packaging, I think you've come off with a much better deal. However, knowing that, I probably still would have bought it because it's just the perfect contour colour. For me, with quite fair skin, I've always found it hard to get the right shade and even the right texture as well. It never seems to blend well on my skin, but it's so silky, so soft, and it's the perfect cool tone brown. It's quite light as well, so you can really kind of build it up. You can't ever put too much on, I guess. Well, you probably could, but yeah, it's quite easy to work with. And then the last thing I got from Space NK is the Hourglass Arch Brow Sculpting Pencil, and I just ran out of my Soap and Glory Archery Brow Tint, which has been my absolute go-to recently for brows. I think it's just an amazing pencil, and for the price that it is, you can't really go wrong. But me being me, had to try something different, and again, this has been a really kind of hyped product. I seem to be going for all the hyped things at the moment, but it's a double-ended pen. You get a spoolie on one end, which is so handy because I always hate having to use a separate one and then picking up my brow pencils. That's just because I'm lazy. But then the actual product is this really nice kind of flat type pencil. It's one of those chiseled ones, so you can get a nice kind of line with it, but you can also fill it in on the flat side. So again, really handy, really quick and easy, and I really like the colour of this too. I've got soft brunette, which I thought would be too light for me, but they tend to come out slightly darker than they look in the actual stick, so it's a really nice shade for me, and just the best way to fill in your brows, I think, because you've got the spoolie, you've got the colour, you're done in under a minute. Saying that though, I did pick up a second brow product, and this one was a complete whim. I saw that Cult Beauty had tweeted that they just started selling this, and then I had a little look on the website and there was a wait list for it, which made me want it even more for some reason. But it's the Anastasia Dipbrow Pomade, and this is basically a little pot of gel, very similar to a gel eyeliner, but it's for your brows, which I just thought was absolutely genius. It is a bit tricky to get the right balance with this, I find. When I tried it first, I just kind of went on with my brush and instantly had black eyebrows because it is so pigmented you barely need any. So I kind of take the smallest little dot on my brush now, rub it off the back of my hand, and then start on the arch where I want it to be darkest, and then what's left on the brush I just take on the front of the brow. But it's a little bit more time consuming than something like the Hourglass pencil, but the effects it gives is just beautiful, and the formula of this just does not budge. It stays on all day. I haven't yet tried it in a waterproof situation, so swimming or, you know, getting my face wet or something like that, but I can imagine it just would stay on all day long. It's really resistant. Now Anastasia do actually sell a brush to go with it, but it's about the same price as the actual product, so I didn't really want to spend that much, but I did a bit of googling, a bit of research, and I found this one from Crown Brushes, and it looks pretty much identical. It's an angled brush, but quite a small one. It's synthetic, so it really picks up the cream product well, and it's got the spoolie on the end, so you're pretty much the same as the Anastasia one. This one though was only about £4, so much better price, and I did buy a few brushes from Crown too. I got these two here. They don't have numbers on them, but I will write them below. This is a tapered blending brush, and I don't actually have one of these in my collection, so I thought that would be nice to add, and it just gets a really nice kind of crease into the eye. And then this one here is kind of multi-purpose. It is an eye brush, I think, but it's really big and fluffy, so I've either been using it to sort of just finish off my makeup and blend out the edges of my eyeshadow, but also I find it's really nice for powdering under the eye, and that's not something I usually do, but I do have the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, and I've been trying to get back into using it, and this is just a really nice shape, nice soft texture to get under there and just powder a bit around the nose and the T-zone. So yeah, I've been using it in a few different ways. So moving on to some of the drugstore things that I picked up, I recently did a blog post about the Gemma Kid Light as Air foundation, which is just my all-time favourite foundation. Sadly though, it's discontinued, it's long gone, but I asked all of you if you had some similar recommendations or any foundations that you thought I would really like. Quite a few people said the Rimmel Match Perfection. This is only about £6.99, so I thought, why not pick it up, why not try it? And the only thing I found with this is the colours are so confusing. There is quite a lot of light shades, which I shouldn't really be complaining about because drugstore foundations are notorious for not having any good light shades, but there's 3 ivories, I think. There's Classic Ivory, True Ivory and Ivory, and I just couldn't tell the difference between any of them. It was really hard. They all looked identical, and I ended up going with Classic Ivory, which looked to be the most neutral of all of them because I didn't really want a pinky one, I didn't want a yellowy one, so yeah, I went for that colour. This is supposed to be a light reflecting radiance foundation. I've only used it once, but I have found that it's got a slightly more kind of satiny texture to it. It's not completely matte, but it's not overly radiant, but it does give the skin a nice glow, and it's kind of soft focus looking too, so it sort of blurs out imperfections, which is nice. The only thing that I have a slight problem with is that it has SPF 18 in it, and I do find as well with more sort of satiny matte foundations, especially if they have SPF, they do look completely white on my face in kind of flash photography. So I won't be wearing that one out anytime soon, but I think it's going to be a nice sort of everyday foundation. So recently I've been on a bit of a mascara rampage. I've been trying to find the perfect kind of lower end cheap drugstore mascara, and I've got two here that I thought I would try out. And the first one is the Maybelline Rocket Volume Express, and I know Essay from Essie Button absolutely swears by this. She says it's the best mascara, I think, or her favourite mascara, especially from a lower end price range. It's got kind of a plasticky wand, similar to the Max Factor False Lash Effect, I think it is, which is one of my favourite mascaras anyway. The only thing that I found with this is it's not very volumizing. I think it's supposed to be a volumizing mascara, but I'm not sure if it's my eyelashes or just the product, but it seems to be more lengthening, which is nice, but I do prefer volume when it comes to mascaras. And then the second one I have just fallen in love with. I've only had this for a few weeks, but I just think it's amazing. It's the L'Oreal Miss Manga mascara, and I don't know if you've seen the advertising for this, but it's very kind of Japanese and kawaii, and if that's the word, quite cute, and they've got little cartoons and things, and a very like Japanese looking makeup on the model. I'm really not into gimmicky marketing usually, so I don't know what made me pick this up, but it's just amazing. And I think the brush as well is something that I would never usually go for. It's a fibre bristle brush, which I'm not always a fan of, and it almost looks quite uneven and clumpy, like there's too much product on it. But as soon as I apply this to my lashes, it's just amazing. It goes on really smoothly. I really like the brush, kind of the shape of it too, because it's thicker at the bottom and it tapers out to be a lot smaller, so you can get nice and tight into the inside lashes from the front, and then the bottom bit actually really fans out the corner lashes, so I suppose you get that sort of like manga eyes effect with it. And it just is a really nice mascara. And I found too, I haven't tried it out enough, I guess, to properly say this, but it doesn't smudge on my bottom lashes. And if you watch my videos quite a lot, you'll know that I have such a problem with mascara smudging, and there's only one so far that I found that doesn't do that. But I kind of put it on the bottoms as a whim, and it just lasted all day, so I'm kind of really excited about that. So yeah, I think this has been my favourite mascara. I've talked about it so much, I'm going to put it down now. And then another kind of gimmicky product I have here is the Maybelline Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser. And Maybelline have obviously seen the effect of their baby lips and kind of run with it, because they have been so popular. They were probably the most hyped product of last year. It's got a very gel-like silicone-y consistency, and I usually don't like that, but it's sort of a bit thicker. It's got more to it than the average silicone primer. So I find it sits really nicely in pores, and it just smooths out the texture of the skin. I'm not sure if it's going to be the best for kind of prolonging makeup wear, but I think if you're looking for something just to really even out everything, it's a really nice one, so I will be trying it out a bit more. So the last two things I have to show you are from Revlon, and I've been absolutely stalking the Revlon counters recently, waiting to see when their, I think it's the Colour Burst matte lip balms are out. If you haven't seen them, they're basically an addition to the Revlon like chubby stick type range, but they're a matte lipstick lip balm hybrid, which really excites me. I really want to try them, but I haven't seen them yet, unfortunately. While I was looking for those though, I saw these, and I don't know if they're new or if I've just never seen them before, but these are the Super Lustrous lipsticks, and they look quite bright and quite pigmented, but when you swatch them, they're actually incredibly sheer. They've just got a tint of colour, and they're almost like lip balms, so they're very similar to what I thought the lip butters would be like, which again I know so many people love and they were so hyped, but I just found the texture of them was a bit too thick and almost quite grainy, and I didn't really like the finish. But these are nice because they're not overly glossy, they are just like a balm with colour in them, and it's sometimes nice to not wear overly bright lipsticks, or to be able to apply something without looking in the mirror. And I know I am a big lipstick person, and I do like to wear my bright colours, but sometimes it's nice to have a bit of a day off from that, especially when I'm going out to eat or something and I don't want to get red all over my face. I really like them though. I think they're just a nice product to sort of chuck in the bottom of your handbag, and just know that they're always there for a quick top up of lipstick. So that's everything that I bought, and I don't know about you, but I'm quite surprised there's no skincare things in there, so I've obviously been a bit more into my makeup at the moment. But let me know if you've tried any of those, if you get on with them or if you don't like them, and I will see you all soon.